Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot. No president has ever done what we just saw. Donald Trump is president. It's been 24 hours now. He was sworn into office. And as he promised, the second he had the opportunity, he started signing. He signed his butt off. He signed his fingers down to a nub. He signed executive action after executive action after executive order. And we're going to plow through a lot of them. Obviously, if you want to get the facts and information, you go to town hall. That's what we do. Here's the great Matt Vespa's byline. Trump's first executive orders. He's got a whole laundry list of them, including an executive order to withdraw from the China-dominated World Health Organization. You remember the people who were in Beijing's back pocket and said, yeah, this whole COVID thing, it has absolutely nothing to do with the Wuhan lab. Yeah, those guys. They're not getting anything from us anymore. No more World Health Organization. By the way, they're also anti-Semitic, and they hate the Jews, and they hate Israel. And we love them. So screw you, World Health Organization. Also, executive order ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs. DEI is DOA. There is no more DEI anymore in the federal government. It's going to take a little while for this to roll out, but it's donezo. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing, as promised. The White House. I was about to say the Trump campaign, but it's not a Trump campaign. It's the White House. The White House put out a full, exhaustive list of promises made and promises kept. On day one, promises kept, starting with energy policy. The promise kept, declaring a national emergency on energy. That unlocks America's full energy potential. Let me translate that for you. Drill, baby, drill. Like right now. Go, drill. Just go. What are you watching me for? Drill, baby, drill. Also, promise kept. Trump signed an executive order directing all federal agencies to suspend, revise, or rescind all federal policies that restrict American energy production. If you're getting in the way of America drilling, fracking, mining, or doing anything that keeps the engine of our economy going so that we're reliant on foreign countries that are hostile to us, like Saudi Arabia or Iran or Venezuela or Russia or the worst, Canada, then get out of the way because we've got a new sheriff in town and his name is Daddy Trump. All right. Also, promise kept. Did I just call him Daddy? Don't let me do that again, please. Well, that's not a good thing. I'm not going to do that again. That was awful. Terminating the previous administration's harmful electric vehicle mandate. Those cheers you hear are United Auto Workers in my beautiful hometown of Detroit, Michigan, and all across the country. They hated those. They were bad, and they were job killing for them. The industry liked them. Ford liked them. You know why? Because they were getting billions of dollars in subsidies to make cars that you don't want. That ends today. Also, promise kept. It ends yesterday, actually. Reversing burdensome regulations that impeded Alaska's ability to develop its vast natural resources. We waited decades for a Republican president to make good on a promise to drill in ANWR, the Alaskan Natural Wildlife Reserve. That's ANWR, right? They kept promising presidents from Herbert Walker Bush to W. Bush. They couldn't get it done. Trump got it done in 2017. It was legislated. It was passed. And then Biden came in and, well, they ignored the law. It was a lawless administration. And Biden just said, yeah, we're going to stop doing that. Well, we're doing it again now. Of course, we're drilling in Alaska as well. We should. Guess who wanted us to drill in Alaska? Alaskans wanted us to drill in Alaska. All right. Also, President Trump vowed to reduce energy costs by 50%. And that's exactly what he did. Executive order unleash American energy production, bringing down costs for families. Oh, I can go on. And we withdrew from the Paris climate deals. Let me just explain something to you. I don't even want to debate climate change with you. If you are concerned about carbon dioxide emissions and you think that it causes greenhouse gases and causes climate change, whatever the hell that means, because no one can tell me what temperature the planet's really supposed to be, but whatever, that's fine. If you believe in that, then the last thing you should want is for us to sign on to the Paris agreements, because when Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Accords 8 years ago, over the course of the 4 years of the Trump presidency, because of innovation in the American economy and industry, we actually led the world in reducing carbon emissions. Now, again, I don't think carbon emissions are a major deal with why wildfires go in California and why I'm still sitting on a chunk of ice in Annapolis, Maryland, but that's not the point. If you do care about it, then you should be happy that we pulled out of these agreements, because without them, we actually did great in carbon emissions. Thank you, Daddy Trump. I did it again. Don't let me do that ever again. All right. Also, we're still on energy. Paused all new and renewed federal leasing and permitting for both onshore and offshore wind projects. Yeah, Yeah, if you're an environmentalist and you want to save whales, you should be cheering right now, you hypocrites, because all those wind turbines that have been sitting out in the ocean, they've been killing whales. The whales have been saved. You know what the whales are saying right now? Well, they're not saying anything because they can't talk. But if they could talk, they'd say, "Thank you, Daddy Trump." See, that wasn't me saying it that time. It was the whales saying it. So that's okay. All right. How about securing the border? We secured the border yesterday. His first executive order declared a national emergency on the southern border. That allows the government to gain operational control of the border again. That's all that Biden had to do. That's all he had to do. We have a national emergency. Did you see the fleet of Border Patrol trucks all heading to the border? They were just sitting there, sitting at the takeout stand to get a Whataburger or an In-N-Out in Texas, waiting for a new president to come in and say, "Could you secure the border, please?" And that's what they're doing. He also revoked the executive order that Biden had put in place that collapsed border and flooded millions of illegal aliens into the country by allowing for amnesty, for asylum status for anyone who claimed it. Not anymore. Donald Trump increased, enhanced federal vetting for screening aliens and requiring officials to identify which countries aren't cooperating with the United States and making sure that we can vet any alien that's crossing our border. The president also paused operation of the refugee admissions program to suspend the entry of illegal aliens into the country when it is not in our national interest. He also signed an executive order shutting down the CBP One app. More on that later, but that's the app that the Biden-Harris administration put in place that basically systemized, regularized, and made more efficient illegal immigration, because you can just do it on an app now. Isn't that great? It's just like listening to a podcast. What else did he do on the border? Oh, the Remain in Mexico migrant protection protocols known as Remain in Mexico. He reinstated. Thank you. He ended catch and release that Biden put in place. And he also directed the Secretary of Defense and Homeland Security to finish construction of the wall. All of that on day one. And I'm only halfway through the executive orders. What else did he do? He designated the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. You know why? Because they're terrorists. They murder people. They exploit people. They rape people. They deal in child and human trafficking. Biden, the champion of children and women, and they don't even know what a woman is. They can't define it for you. But they were allowing women to be exploited and trafficked and raped and sexually assaulted on a regular basis. Trump comes in and says, "You guys are terrorists, and now we can deal with them like terrorists." The president also directed the military to prioritize our borders, to protect our borders and territorial integrity, because that's what the military is supposed to do. Okay, how about draining the swamp? Trump signed a presidential memorandum ordering all agencies to take necessary steps to terminate remote work. It's going to take a little while to roll out. And by the way, I have mixed feelings because I like working from home. But my bosses make sure that my efficiency is the same, if not even more so, when I'm working from home. You think that's happening in the federal government? Well, if you do, you're a fool. You know that people are exploiting this, that people are working from home and they're phoning it in. And so what do? Individual basis, we make sure, oh, you're still working hard and yet you can still stay with your kids and you can still keep a nice family life, which I think would be a great thing. If you can be a mom or a dad and you can be efficient and work and earn money and still be there and present in your kid's life, you should be able to do that. But guess what? The federal government, the employees, they've been exploiting this thing. We're paying for them to slack off. So what do you do when you're the new boss? Okay, you end it across the board. No more work from home. Then on a case-from-case basis, you can evaluate people on an individual basis and get it done, if at all. All right. Also, President Trump signed an order implementing DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. So that's official now, and they report to Russ Vought at the Office of Management and Budget. Also, reform federal hiring process to restore merit to government service, reprioritizing skills, experience, patriotism, not commitment to radical ideologies. What does that mean? No more DEI. It means if you want a job in the federal government, you're going to be evaluated based on how well you can perform the job. Why is this a radical idea? Why is that even controversial? That should be the norm. That's what we've done. We've restored common sense here. And when I say we, I mean you, by voting for Donald Trump. All right, more. Executive order instilling accountability for failing career bureaucrats to better address misconduct and poor performance. That means I don't care if you've worked in the federal government for the last 30 years. If you suck, you're fired. That's what that means. All right, next. President Trump signed an executive order. Are you getting tired yet? Are you tired of the winning yet? Because there's more. Executive order creating a new category of federal hires for career employees in policy influencing positions, making it easier to remove rogue bureaucrats. In other words, you've been working in the government for a long time. Who hired you originally? Oh, Barack Obama. Is that right? Can I take a look at your work product, please, for a minute? What have you been doing? Oh, yeah, none of this matches President Trump's agenda. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to do what the new president tells you to do. And if you don't like it, you can leave. And if you don't do it, you'll be fired. That's what that means. It's how any business should work, but not the federal government, not until now. More. President Trump signed an executive order to bring a swift end of the weaponization of the federal government. Thank you. Again, common sense. Why should we allow the government to be weaponized? He restored freedom of speech and ends government-sponsored censorship. We need an executive order to tell government employees and government agencies that they can't collude with private businesses to censor Americans. We don't need an executive order for that. We have a thing called the First Amendment that specifically prohibits the government from infringing on our right to free speech. But apparently after the Biden administration, we do need an executive order to remind everybody, oh, hey, guess what? You know that Constitution you swear to protect and defend when you become a federal employee? Well, you're not allowed to violate it yourself. Protect and defend against you. All right, more. There's more. There's actually more. President Trump rescinded a record 78 executive actions by the Biden-Harris administration, including eliminating DEI ideology, open border policies, climate extremism from our federal government. In other words, some of the most wide-sweeping executive orders that President Trump did yesterday was not signing his own. It was rescinding Biden's that he had put in place. All right, including rescinding, this is a huge one, all executive departments and agencies ordering an immediate halt to the publication of regulations. No more new regulations until further notice. It's a lot of talking. All right, more. Foreign policy must always put the interests of America and its citizens first. Why do we need an executive order to say that? Hey, all you people who work in the State Department or in the Pentagon, when you're coming up with policies or implementing or enforcing policies outside of our borders, put America first. That actually required an executive order. Also, an executive order realigning U.S. foreign aid to match American values. Presidential memorandum reviving the America First trade agenda. Also, and this is really important, we have now officially renamed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. He did that in executive order, and bringing back the name of Mount McKinley from Denali. Finally, delivering emergency price relief for the American families, offering federal agencies to eliminate unnecessary administrative expenses, counterproductive requirements, and harmful climate policies that are driving up costs. There's more, but good. Oh, and finally, the pièce de résistance, a full and complete pardon and commutation for 1,500 January 6 defendants. You know, people who walked through a door that a Capitol Police officer was holding open. They were arrested, of course, and had to either plead guilty or defend themselves in federal court. They now have a pardon and commutation. Okay. That's a lot. That's a lot. No president has ever done what we just saw. No video streaming podcaster has ever quickly gone through all of them as quickly as that took 15 minutes, but still, it was pretty good. Increased tariffs on our trade partners, that's on the table. Tax cuts, that's on the table. Regulation changes, already saw some executed yesterday. Learn why gold is a viable diversification tactic now more than ever. Birch Gold, the only gold company, I always say company, but I do endorse other companies. But they're the only gold company I endorse, damn it. They're the only gold company I endorse. They're a viable diversification tactic now more than ever. I endorse them because they've got this brand new ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era. You got to get this book because guess what? We're in the Trump era. You got to get the ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era with a foreword written by Donald Trump Jr. That name sounds familiar. Get your free copy along with Birch Gold's free information kit on gold. Just text my name, Larry, to the number 989898. Larry, Larry. How else would you spell Larry? What are you, a Canadian? 989898. We got a national debt that continues to increase. We got interest payments on the national debt. They continue to increase. Gold is still your hedge against a weakened dollar. Birch Gold, still the company I love to convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. not a penny out of your pocket. Text Larry, Larry, the American way, not the Canadian way, Larry to 989898. Get your free copy of The Ultimate Guide for Gold in the Trump Era. No obligation, only information.